Please be seated. Several of us went to diocesan convention in Palm Desert for the last few days. It was our new bishop's first convention with us, and I have to say it was a real treat to see her in action. I'm sure most of you have heard the narrative of church decline, and maybe you've even seen the graphs highlighting plunging attendance. Our bishop challenged this narrative of death. She pointed over and over again to the angry world around us. The world needs the church, she said, because the world needs love. It is what we are here to do, to share the good news of the love of Jesus Christ. She shared her story of her experience of that love. Because she has experienced it, she is confident that others facing the toils of this world will benefit from hearing the love of God as well. We do not worship a God of death. We worship the God of the living. How have you experienced the God of love? What does it mean for you to have a relationship with God? How do you nurture that relationship and move deeper into it? How do you endeavor to follow the risen Christ more closely? At the convention, we looked at some data that showed that Episcopalians are challenged sometimes to have conversations about these questions. But we also heard that Episcopalians want to have these conversations. And that is one of the reasons that the bishop has called for the next year to be a year of discipleship, a year of formation in our faith. Formation of how to follow Christ more deeply. We spent some time in groups talking about how to be disciples, and we did that through a series of questions. My group started off by talking about service projects as discipleship, things like showers of blessings or food pantries. But after a little bit of conversation, we realized that in order to go deeper into discipleship, we really needed to have some conversation about what discipleship is, about what the word means. It became clear that for some of us, discipleship was seen as an obligation, a burden, something to be done begrudgingly as a duty. I wonder if for some of us who bring wounds from churches that might have hurt us, if words like discipleship and evangelism may need some redefining. I think discipleship as an obligation and a burden are definitions of discipleship that come from a dying church. Because if we believe in the God of love, if we believe in the God of the living, then following the God of the living must be life-giving. And we must reclaim discipleship as a life-giving and nurturing way of life. And we have to reject definitions of discipleship that are weighted down as a kind of work towards some distant reward, or as some duty owed for a distant favor in the past. What if instead discipleship were a part of an active and a present relationship in the here and the now with the God of the living. Surely healthy discipleship is that. Discipleship as a life-giving thing need not be always easy, though. Worthwhile things rarely are, but that need not make it a guilt-ridden obligation, nor a duty-bound payment towards a debt. No, discipleship, it's the very thing that gives us life. The act of following Jesus itself that renews us and transforms us time and time again, taking us deeper and deeper into the heart of God. At one workshop presentation at the convention, a priest from St. James in New York shared that congregation's journey into a deeper level of discipleship. They did many things together as they agreed to embark on a journey of formation as disciples. One of the simplest things they did that stayed with me was to be very clear with new members what they hoped for in future disciples. It was so simple, I wanted to share it with you. It's just 3 words. Pray, work, give. That's it. Pray regularly, every day, maybe more often than every day. Study the Scriptures, get to know the Jesus we follow, not only in the Scriptures, but also in prayer. Let yourself be changed by the Scriptures and prayer. Be transformed in relationship with the living Christ. Work. Serve your community. William Temple said the church is the only organization that exists not for itself, but for others, or something like that. I like to say being baptized is not a spectator sport. You have to jump in. Being part of a ministry, we participate in the larger work of the church to share the love of God, to make God's love tangible. And in doing that, we ourselves are changed. Give. Be generous. Giving in gratitude and generosity are the keys to a larger heart. Generosity changes us. It loosens our attachments and helps us to grow towards the world around us. And so discipleship is transformative. The more we love God and our neighbor, the better we get at it. Because the more we are changed by the God we follow. And so, what does discipleship mean to you? How do you commit to go deeper in your journey with God? Whatever that looks like, I pray that it brings you new life. So much that you can't wait to share it with a world that needs it.